So you may have heard a silly myth about these Toyota trucks and SUVs that they have Mickey Mouse cam alignment bolt adjuster tabs, and that you need to beef them up if you're doing a serious off-roading by replacing those stock alignment tabs with the twin towers so they're nice and beefy and won't break or flatten when you go off-road. Well, we put that theory to the test. We went ahead and took this Lexus GX 460 off-road. Yeah, baby! Turn into it. What's your boat? You might be a passenger. Oh, did it? Oh, oh! Oh! Oh, snap! Oh boy, big one, big one, big one. Oh yeah! Oh, baby! And would you believe, after all of that, the alignment tabs for this Lexus GX 460 are perfectly fine. Absolutely none of them are flattened. Here's the actual truth. It is a myth that the alignment cab bolt tabs hold the alignment. They do not hold the alignment. It is the clamping force of the bolts themselves when they are torqued down properly that tighten and hold the alignment in place. The cam tabs are only there to aid when the technician or the mechanic aligns the vehicle when the bolts are actually loosened. Once everything is torqued down, those alignment tabs are doing absolutely nothing. So where does this myth come from of, well, the alignment tabs got flattened down when I went to do serious off-roading or hit a pothole? Look, my alignment tabs are flattened. The truth is this: in the majority of those cases, you already know what I'm going to say, somebody is messing around and screwing around with aftermarket modifications and builds, adding this and changing this and doing that, and then to make matters worse, they go to one of those ghetto strip mall 3-year alignment package or lifetime alignment package, one of those stupid places. That's exactly where they take their expensive Land Cruiser to go get aligned after they screw with it. And then what ends up happening is the tech will either over torque or under torque, or worse, he will tighten the actual cam adjusters instead of the actual lock nut. And when they tighten those adjusters by accident, the ears or lobe on that cam presses into those side tabs and bends them flat. Of course, they're not going to tell you they did that. They're just going to send you out the door, and you'll discover it later when you have a clunking in your suspension. The other common reason we see when those alignment tabs flatten is the alignment tech at one of these Mickey Mouse places simply under torques the bolt. Let's look at an anecdote. Uh-oh, it looks like a Land Cruiser flattened the wimpy cam tab here, and the alignment lobe is facing 120 degrees out of phase, facing down instead of up. You can see here where it used to be. Well, he must have hit a pothole or something. It's all Toyota's fault. Well, let's look at what the owner says. I was at the shop, and the alignment guy didn't use a torque wrench, but he was a big boy, and I saw him really lean into them. Had to retighten 3 of them. Now I'm going in for another alignment. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I wonder. So as you can see, Bubba just did it good and tight and sent the customer out the door. And over time, of course, that bolt loosened up, and then the cam lobes were free to spin around and flatten out the tabs. We absolutely thrash our GX 460, and we've had this thing since brand new, and it has never spent a full day on pavement. It lives off-road out here in the desert, and we thrash this thing on the trails, and the stock OEM tabs are completely fine. As long as those bolts are torqued down the way they're supposed to be, the alignment will not shift or move. Now, there's all sorts of arguments about what if you hit a pothole or something big and big rock off-road. Land Cruiser engineers knew when they were engineering these things that they were going off-road. They thrashed them off-road. They're not building these $100,000 Land Cruisers and their variants to then just Mickey Mouse and cheap out on 2 alignment tabs that only if they just doubled them up and made them extra beefy, then everything would be perfect. They know what they're doing. The tabs aren't the problem. It comes down to simple user error or alignment technician error. Remember, your lower control arms are suspended within thick rubber bushings. So anytime you hit a rock or a bump, and that happens all the time with anybody's car on or off road, pothole, whatever, they're getting slammed around. There's a giant rubber donut, 2 of them. They're this thick and they're this long. And that rubber bushing acts as a spring or shock absorber or dampener, whatever you want to call it. It's taking away that shock and dissipating that energy within the rubber bushing as heat. So engineers are fully aware that you're going to slam into things with your lower control arms. That's what the bushings are there for. They're there to absorb that shock so the control arm bolts and thus your alignment don't shift out of place. So before you decide to take an air chisel to your OEM alignment tab so you can weld on the World Trade Center to correct the stupid mistakes of world-class Land Cruiser engineers of all things who just couldn't figure out how to do alignment tabs, take a moment to just relax and breathe and know how these things work. It is the clamping force that holds the alignment. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about a 2025 Land Cruiser or a 1990 Mazda Miata. Those tabs don't even need to be there. They're just oval holes behind there. And if you align that lower control arm where it wants to go and it's right on the computer and you tighten the bolts down, you can grind off those alignment tabs. As long as the bolt is tight, the alignment will hold. A better habit to get into instead of trying to correct Toyota engineers, you should instead get into the habit of checking the torque value on your lower control arm bushing bolts periodically, every oil change, every 3rd oil change, whatever. And make sure if you decide to get your vehicle aligned that you're taking it to a competent alignment shop, not the scam lifetime alignment shop that calls you up 20 minutes after you left your car there and goes, "Do you have a minute? Actually, we can't align your car unless you get new ball joints." Ball joints are scary too. That's a scary word, ball joints, right? Alignment won't stick unless ball joints. Scam. And so are these aftermarket Toyota reinforced double thick alignment bolt gusset plates, blah, blah, blah.